Welcome to the Expansive Astrology Podcast, where we look at using astrology beyond the tropes and horoscopes to tune into the natural forces around us and within us, honoring our true nature to craft our future. I'm your host, Melissa, the Self-Care Witch, and I'm here to help you meet your magic. Without further ado, let's begin this week's episode with a tarot reading for the collective. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Today is episode 41, and I'm very excited because I'm talking about Pisces energy in the tarot this week. We're going to explore the different tarot cards that represent Pisces energy to help deepen our understanding of what Pisces is all about, what the invitations are, what we're learning this season. But first things first, I have a collective tarot reading for you. This is a 4-card check-in spread for the collective for the week. So some of the things I say might really resonate and hit close to home. Some things might not feel like they totally apply to you. So I encourage you to take what you need and leave the rest, as always, of course. And stay open to seeing how these things might play out for you over the week to come, because if you're hearing this, I trust that you're meant to hear it. We've got a fun one this week that is in some ways really similar to last week. So I'm excited to share this with you. First of all, present for us is the 10 of Cups. This is one of my favorite cards. This card is about deeply being in the heart, which is very on brand for Pisces season. And what we learn in the 10 of Cups is an ability, we're cultivating the ability to find pleasure, to experience enjoyment in life. It's kind of like a romanticize your life card. It's a find the silver linings card. It's a stop and smell the roses kind of card. In the 10 of Cups, it's like this practice of learning to appreciate every sunset, even though they happen every day, you know? It's like a choice. It's the choice to be present with every rainbow, every sunset. It's a choice to really soak in the goodness wherever you can find it. The 10 of Cups is not saying everything is going to be hunky-dory. Hunky-dory? Honky-dory? Where does that phrase come from and what exactly is it? I'm not too sure. The 10 of Cups is not saying there are gonna be rainbows and sunshine and everybody's gonna get along and there's gonna be happiness and it's a happily ever after. That's what's depicted in the card. Sunshine and love and children playing and a big giant rainbow in the sky. That's what's depicted in the Pamela Coleman Smith Rider-Waite tarot. And I can't guarantee that. We can't guarantee that, right? Even if that were here, we know realistically it could be gone in a second. Life is cyclical, you know? There is no one happy ending, right? It's a journey. Life is a journey. This is about being really awake and present for the journey. It's about finding enjoyment in the journey. Being willing to be in that and see that at all times. And I'm not saying to bypass pain, grief, trauma, tragedy, right? But even in the midst of tragedy, can you still somehow find the ability to appreciate the rainbows and the sunsets and the flowers and the hugs and the children laughing? And it's the little things, right? And it's a choice. And it's accessible to us at any time. And this is supported by the Page of Pentacles, which is, according to Soul Tarot, it's fixed earth energy, which is Taurus. And these two together, the 10 of Cups plus the Page of Pentacles, are really emphasizing this idea of structuring your life so that you are tripping over sunsets and rainbows and roses and children laughing. So that it is like in your face everywhere you turn, the things that you enjoy, the things that bring you pleasure, the things that connect you to God. Taurus is about cultivating and receiving pleasure. And it's also about security, safety, sustainability. It's like fixed Venus energy in a way. And the pages are like the students of their suit. The Page of Pentacles is the student of the element of earth. Last week, I believe we had the Ace of Pentacles in this position. And here we are with the Page of Pentacles, where like that's like a graduation, it's an upgrade, and we're getting serious. Like if the Ace of Pentacles is like kindergarten of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles is like writing their thesis and getting ready to graduate with their master's degree in Pentacles, in the element of earth. They are a student of what it means to live in alignment with the Pentacles. This page is about deep devotion to your purpose and embodying this idea, stepping into the shoes of this page who is so rooted into their purpose, so rooted into the earth, so devoted to studying what it means to engage with this earth. They are about constant alignment with the soul. They are a student of aligning the head with the heart and with the hands. What are you getting your hands into? Is it helping to cultivate safety, security, pleasure? Are you utilizing your resources in a way that will make a 10 of Cups experience more likely and more fulfilling and more full in general? Using your hands, using your soul's guidance, and using your resources to make it a little easier to romanticize the fuck out of your life. Using whatever is available to you to cultivate safety, security, pleasure, and beauty and enjoyment. So that beautiful and incredibly important invitation is present for us this week, those two together. And what we're learning this week is a continuation from last week, the Seven of Pentacles. I am pretty sure that this card came up in the lesson spot last week as well. So we are still there. This is, man, especially given what is present for us, right? That Page of Pentacles where I'm asking you, like, what are you getting your hands into? What we're learning in the Seven of Pentacles is like, what are you not getting your hands into? What do you need to just wait on? What do you need to like back away from a little bit and trust the timing, trust the course of nature? Don't try to rush something. Don't try to hurry a natural process. Don't try to control the natural unfolding of things. Like we're learning how to trust the timing. This is, it's also like very Pisces in a way, because we're going to be talking about the moon and the hanged one later. And the hanged one is all about like being where you are, trusting the timing of things, letting things unfold naturally. Are you focusing your energy, your resources on things that cannot be changed? Is there perhaps a better use of your energy, your resources, and your time? Seven of Pentacles, we're learning to embrace every stage of the process. We're learning to wait to harvest. You don't want to pick the berries too early. They'll be sour. Patience is a virtue. And you've got plenty of time. You've got time. Don't try to rush things. We have so much beautiful time, you know? But what you can do, our anchor for this week, is the Ace of Wands. This is about embracing wand energy, fire energy, bringing a little fire to the spread. The Ace of Wands is telling us, choose yourself. Come into oneness with your fire. Begin to really understand what your inner flame is all about, what it's made of, what activates it, what blows it out, what gets you going. The suit of wands and fire energy is all about our energy, our creativity, our passion, what matters to us, how you are in the world, how you move through the world. And in the Ace of Wands, like, there's a big reclamation of your power, calling back your power, calling yourself back to yourself. How can you choose yourself? What matters to you? What matters to you? Fuck the rest of them. What is your inner flame all about? And how can you really be with that, cultivate it? Have a relationship with it. Your anchor this week is to remember to choose yourself. Remember to stay really present with what matters to you. Overall, there's this message like you are creating and can create a really beautiful life for yourself. Knowing how to be with the beauty, staying in alignment with your soul's calling, using your resources thusly, trusting the timing of your life and not trying to force or push or rush anything, and honoring and aligning with your inner flame, your power, and what matters to you, choosing yourself, choosing what matters to you. Mwah, chef's kiss. That's the recipe for success this week. I like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know how this applies to you, if it's feeling relevant for you. How does this look in your life? I'd love to hear from you. You can always reach out. That's our spread this week. Now, let's get into the expansive astrology for the week. We're talking Pisces. We're taking it deeper. Let's talk about the Moon card, the Hanged One, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Suit of Cups. So, according to Soul Tarot, by Lindsay Mack, which is the tarot theory that I largely use, the card that correlates with Pisces is the Moon. And we'll also be talking about the Hanged One this week because it's ruled by Neptune. And we'll be speaking about the Wheel of Fortune because it's ruled by Jupiter. All of these cards, in slightly different ways, they all have to do with waiting, surrendering, letting go, spaciousness, suspension. And with any sort of letting go energy, there's always this sense of like a new day on the horizon. So to start, let's talk about the Moon. This is intense, complex energy that, in a little nutshell, is basically about being able to find comfort with the unknown. How do we handle the darkest of the dark of the night? How do we deal with sitting in the void where we have no idea what's happening or what is to come? It's an invitation to surrender to the unknown, to surrender in mysterious times, which makes us very uncomfortable, right? The ego, the brain, our nervous system, we do not like to be in moments of unknowns, especially when we've experienced trauma or loss. Part of the medicine this card brings is in helping us remember that even in those moments, we always have a choice in how we show up. Always. And the moon reminds us that nothing is permanent. The moon is the perfect reminder that everything has phases. Everything has cycles. Everything is waxing and waning and changing. And learning this can help us to stay calm in the dark, stay calm in the void, in the unknown. We know that it's really difficult to see in the dark. It's harder to see in the moonlight compared to the sunlight. And this card represents where that moonlight is illuminating something. Some aspect, something is being illuminated to you. Something is available, always. The moon card, Pisces energy, helps us learn, helps us to explore what is being illuminated and how. While you're in the dark or unsure, what is present there? What is being shown to you? And put a little pin in that. The polarity, the opposite of Pisces is Virgo. And the tarot card for Virgo is the Hermit. And that is like the essence of the Hermit is like staying present with what is being shown to you. Just being present with what is right in front of you. So I always love to think about those polarities and how it doesn't always mean like complete and total opposite, like black and white, big and small. They're polarities. They exist on the same axis. So I like to see where there are similarities. And that's a big one. When we are willing to see what's being shown to us, even in the darkness, this helps us to really close out anything that's lingering. Pisces helps us end a cycle, right? We're about to step into a new zodiacal year. And our willingness and our ability to see what is being shown to us, to acknowledge what is being illuminated to us, even in the darkness. When we choose to surrender to that, rather than freaking out and gripping and trying to control, it helps us to clear out another layer. It helps us to find that completion. It helps us to step into the next cycle. It helps us to move through the lingering egoic shit that wants to have control and wants to keep the things the same and feels like it needs the sunlight. It feels like it needs to know everything, especially in the darkness, especially in the unknown. Learning to surrender there allows us to sink back into comfort with the unknown, comfort with the way that we're floating through this fool's journey. In this energy, we tune in and find acceptance and say, okay, I might not really know what the fuck is going on. There's a lot that I cannot see. And what is being illuminated to me? How can I surrender to what I don't know and find trust in what I do know? How can I surrender to the discomfort of this and find trust in the unfolding of it? Lindsay Mack says, quote, We learn in moon energy how to work with these scenarios through our lives. When things are unknown, we can either fight it, attempt to enact control, or we can be with what is. And we really get to learn that in this energy. Unquote. In the card, we see there's a lot of symbolism in the moon card by Pamela Coleman Smith in the Rider-Waite deck. And we see two dogs. One is totally feral, freaking out, barking at the moon. Its hair is standing on edge. And if a dog could look pale, this dog is pale. If a dog can be pale. The other dog is totally surrendered. Just looking up at the moon, surrendered to it, and kind of curious by it. I really like to consider those two dogs, like which dog am I being right now? Is it possible for me to surrender a little bit and become a little less feral and freaked? Which dog do I want to be here? We also see two towers in the card representing like a passageway into something new, a passageway into what's next. The moon is also very close to the earth, which means its light is shining down on the earth and something is being illuminated. We also see a crawfish crawling out of the water, which represents the moon and its strong gravitational pull, right? It's like pulling the things out of the water. More illumination, like what is coming out of the water here. Next, ruled by Neptune, we have the Hanged One. I love this card, and it is especially feeling potent for me as I'm in the middle of a pregnancy. Pregnancy and birth is very much a Hanged One experience. Let me tell you. I love this card. In this card, we see a being hanging upside down, seemingly stuck, yet they seem unbothered. Not only that, but they are enlightened. This card is all about holding space for resistance and discomfort without identifying with it. It's surrendering, letting go, allowing a process to unfold in its own time. This all comes up with the Hanged One. This is an invitation to allow yourself to fully process and be complete with some cycle, situation, habit, pattern, relationship, something that is no longer meant for you. The Hanged One is about hanging out in that process of shedding the thing. Hanging out in the process. Like you can be completely done with something and still be in a process of that being done, right? There's no rush with the Hanged One. This can also be about seeing things from a new perspective. Our vision has been flipped upside down. We're sitting in the midst of a profound inward journey. The Hanged One holds us where we are until we've experienced all there is to experience, until we've gone as deeply and as thoroughly through the thing as we need to. Are you resisting? Can you be willing to be with that resistance that may arise and roll with the process anyway? The person in the card may be enlightened, but no, he's not having a good time. He seems a little unbothered, right? But like also the historical significance of the Hanged One can't be undermined or ignored. This guy might be a criminal. He may have been sentenced to the death policy, justly or not, right? There can be a lot there. It's not all surrender and enlightenment and allowance, right? There can be a lot of contraction that comes up with and through and around the Hanged One experience. And Can you be willing to be with any of that resistance, any of that difficulty that may arise, and roll with it anyway? Just really being in where you are. And ultimately, this is the energy that prepares us for the death card. This is the process of those stages of grief and death. It's the process of the anger, the denial, the bargaining, the depression, the acceptance. It's the process we go through before we find meaning. It's where we really start to experience and understand the process of death and letting go and change. This is where we get really quiet with ourselves, where we explore our own resistance, the reasons we attach to certain things, fight for certain things, where we try to escape certain discomforts. It's all about the process. This is the card that helps move us through surrender. That helps us. This is the card where we're hanging in the chrysalis and we turn into goo before we become a butterfly. Are you willing to become goo and not rush the process? And I'm realizing that I have some room to grow with the Hanged One experience. If the Hanged One is a part of Pisces energy, and Pisces is a part of closing that cycle, for like 8 weeks, I've been like, it's almost Aries season. I'm very excited for Aries season, right? But like we can't rush past this season. We've got a whole Pisces season to swim through first. And it's important. I want to be in all of that and awake for all that it's teaching me. I want to be goo. So next we have the Wheel of Fortune, ruled by Jupiter. The Wheel of Fortune makes a special appearance for Pisces season. This card asks us, when things are unclear, how do we stay centered? You'll see how like we're talking about variations on the same theme, right? The Wheel of Fortune is about finding our center so that we can be present with and surrender to changes as they occur. This is a card that has us ask, even when things are very unclear, how do we show up and respond from a sense of centeredness? This card is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is expansion. This invites us into an act of choosing to surrender as we expand. This is about rewilding our sense of time and moving from a place that is not so egoic. Moving from that place that we started learning in the Fool, where we know we have no control, really. We know things are unfolding in ways we can't possibly control, no matter how hard we try. So, the Wheel of Fortune is an invitation to come back to the center in the midst of great change. We are rewilding our sense of time. There's no attachment to the future or the past or time at all. We're learning to work with our circumstances without gripping for control. Learning to trust the turning of our life without gripping for control. You have a choice. You can either try to grip that wheel and steer according to what you think you need to do, or you can release control of the wheel and watch it all unfold around you from a trusting and centered place. This is about learning to sit in receptivity, acceptance, receiving. How do we work with our need for control? How do we work with our resistance to surrender? How do we find trust in the unknown? So when we're in the Wheel of Fortune energy, we can say to ourselves, there's a lot happening. There's some expansion coming for me. And I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know if I can control this one. And I do not need to know. I do not need to know. In fact, it's safest to never presume to know what is coming up for us or what the best thing to do is. This is an opportunity to outgrow this idea of needing to know, to outgrow trying to control. This is an opportunity to learn to trust the timing of our lives. We've all had these moments. Those times when you think you knew what you wanted. Maybe you fought really hard for it. Maybe you waited for years. And maybe you got it. And then it didn't turn out to be exactly what you thought you needed. Or maybe you didn't get it. But life ended up handing you something totally different and 100 times better than you ever could have imagined. The Wheel of Fortune reminds us what it looks like to be in the center of our wheel, no matter what is surrounding us. It's those times we're asking, what is in front of me that I don't want to deal with right now? What's inside of me that I don't want to deal with? And how can I be with these things anyway? How can I maintain a sense of centeredness no matter what is going on within and around me? How can I maintain a sense of centeredness and empowerment even when my brain is totally freaked out about what is or is not going to happen? Learning to stay centered no matter what's unfolding, even and especially when things are completely out of your control. And that's the Wheel of Fortune. And since Pisces is water energy, I also want to speak about the Suit of Cups and especially the mutable cup, which is the Knight of Cups. The Suit of Cups is all about our emotional center, our hearts. These cards indicate how we feel, how we express our feelings, our interactions with others, how we care for ourselves and others, and our relationship with our intuition. Really, this suit invites us to love ourselves, to be intimate and vulnerable with ourselves. The cups are about choosing our hearts over and over again, choosing to fully allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling, how to allow our hearts, our feelings, allowing those things to inform us and empower us and not just wash us away. It all comes back to us. At the end of the day, no matter what we're talking about, no matter what we're working on, even when we're working with themes of relationships or romance or partnership, it all comes back to us. It all comes down to you. This is a reminder that really no one can give us anything that we can't give ourselves. The cliche is true. We must love ourselves in order to truly accept love from outside of ourselves. To truly feel safety and security with love from outside of ourselves. You can be loved. If you don't love yourself, if you don't have a relationship with yourself, if you don't treat yourself well, you can be loved. Of course, you are so lovable. Of course. And until or unless you can provide that for yourself from within, it will always fall flat. It will never be enough. Nothing externally will ever be enough if you can't provide for yourself. And the cups remind us to provide those things that we're seeking and needing to ourselves. The Knight of Cups, in specific, is about moving through the world in that way. The Knight of Cups is about leading with the heart. This Knight asks you to move in a way that is more present, that is more gentle and steady. You're reminded to stay anchored as you move through your busy life. Connect to your heart, connect to nourishment, connect to relationships that feel good. The Knight of Cups is about moving through the world in a very heart-centered way, in an incredibly graceful and tender and intentional way. The Knight of Cups has a full cup, this beautiful goblet. It's full to the brim. So much emotion, so much love, incredibly heart-centered, and they move through the world very carefully, very tenderly, so as not to let that cup slosh over all over the place. Emotions can feel messy, they can be messy, right? And we can learn how to contain the slosh. What fills your cup? What nourishes your heart? What feels extra hard to love about yourself? How can you reclaim a connection to yourself? How can you possibly face this cruel, hard world and not completely close off your heart? Loving yourself through it, checking in with the self, honoring your intuitive knowing, allowing grief and allowing contentedness as they arise. Being with our feelings, accepting them, holding them fully as they arise. This suit helps us in being in relationship with the heart and our emotions, whatever that looks like. How can you refine your relationship with your heart and your emotions this season? As we're doing this moon hanged one, Wheel of Fortune, shadow, Pisces deep dive work. How can you refine your relationship with your heart and your emotions as we move through it? And that's Pisces in the tarot. And also remember that the phrase for Pisces is I believe. So as we're doing all of this moon hanged one, Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Cups work, shadow deep dive yikes work, keep centered with that phrase, right? And what you believe. I think that's all I have for you for the expansive astrology this week. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that what I've shared this week serves you as we float along in Pisces season. Before I go, let me just really briefly invite you to join the Meet Your Magic monthly membership. March tarot readings are going out over the next week. So if you would like a March tarot reading, now is the time to sign up for just $25. Also, with your membership, you will receive an all-access pass to all of my moon meetups. You can come whenever you please. The next moon meetup is March 5th for the full moon in Virgo. These happen in person in Old Town Fort Collins or from your living room via Zoom. I would love to see you there. I would love to do a March tarot reading for you, and I so appreciate your support. Also, keep in mind I do free tarot on my Instagram stories every Friday, so if you're not following there, make sure to follow me there. I'd love to see ya. Otherwise, I will see you here next week for Pisces season, week 3, we are talking about the shadows. We're diving into a little shadow work way in the depths of the ocean. It's going to be a deep one. I hope you're ready. I'm excited to share it with you. So I'll see you next week for that. And in the meantime, take care. Thanks for being here. Bye. Now, before you go, let me keep your ear for just a moment. This week's episode is brought to you by www.theselfcarewitch.com, my bread and butter, where you can find more information on my current courses, offerings, and other fun ways to connect with myself and yourself. If you enjoyed this episode and you dig what I'm doing here, please subscribe to the podcast, rate it, and leave a review. And if you'd like to connect with me, head to theselfcarewitch.com. I'd truly love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.